So your final does not cover from the first chapter to the last chapter. So your finals only cover these sections or chapters, in this case, 7.4, 7.5, 8.1 to 8.6, excluding 8.5. I will tell you when is the finals. Should be on the almost towards a week before Christmas. I think it's around 12, 13, 14, around there. December 13, 14, around that. It's in the syllabus, so check the syllabus if you should be posted in syllabus. And again, same thing as your test 3, your finals, you're allowed to bring 1 page of note. Okay. And again, it has to be just the front page of note, 1 page of note. It must be only front page. And you can also use your graphing calculators on this one. Okay. So if you have a graphing or a scientific, doesn't matter which one you want to do. So so in your final 7.4, 7.5, 8.1 to 8.6, you can bring 1 page of note, only the front page. Graphing calculators or scientific calculators can be used for this in this finals. So this is the finals that we will talk about. So we'll finish this one out today. So we will talk about 7.4 today. Anyone have any questions for me here? And I'm still grading your test, so I have a lot. I gave 4 tests last week, so I'm going to be bombarded with grading a test this week. So so what we're going to talk about 7.4 here is the sum and difference formula. So this formula is used when you add or you find the difference of 2 angles, u plus v or u minus v. So make sure you know the sign here is very tricky. So sine u plus v is sine u cosine v plus cosine u sine v. So the plus is using the plus. Sine u minus v is sine u cosine v minus cosine u sine v. So the plus, you use the plus, the minus, you use the minus. Okay, this is for the sine. This formula this is very important formula. This formula is used when you add or subtract 2 angles. Okay, so this formula is used when you add or subtract 2 angles. So we are giving you 2 angles like 45 degrees plus 30 degrees or something else. So when you want to find the sine, cosine, tangent of it, you use this. Okay, you add or subtract. For cosine u plus v is cosine u cosine v minus sine u sine v. So for the cosine one, instead of add, for addition, you have to subtract them. And cosine u minus v is cosine u cosine v plus sine u sine v. So for the subtraction, you have to add. For the add, you have to subtract. So the sign switch around when you do the cosine case. Okay. Tangent u plus v is tangent u plus tangent v over by 1 minus tangent u tangent v. So this is a plus. And for minus tangent u minus tangent v is tangent u minus tangent v 1 plus tangent u tangent v. So make sure you guys know that if you want to use the top sign, then the sign on the top is used. If you use a bottom sign, you use the bottom sign in this case. There are a few things you need to know about this sum and difference formula. First thing is the sum and difference formula here is used when you again add and subtract, and you cannot distribute this. So this is one of the thing that students do wrong in the test, is they distribute your sine u and sine v. They give me sine u plus sine v. This is completely wrong. Okay, same thing with cosine, same thing with tangent. Okay, so same thing with cosine, same thing with tangent. You do not distribute. Okay, so this is one thing that I will tell you in this section: do not distribute. Okay. Another thing is, if the question asks you to find the reciprocal, like secant u plus v, what you need to do here is you find the cosine u plus v first. because secant is a reciprocal of cosine. So once you get the cosine u plus v, you just flip this. Okay, so to find the secant. Okay, same thing with cosecant, same thing with cotangent. You find the sine, cosine, tangent of the reciprocal first, then you flip it. So that means that your formula for if it's secant, you cannot use secant u plus v is secant u secant v minus cosecant u and cosecant v. No, you cannot do that. So this is only used for sine, cosine, and tangent. If you want to do the secant, cosecant, and cotangent, you just put 1 over this. Okay, so so this is the important stuff. So do not do this, otherwise you will get wrong in your test here. So now we're gonna find the exact value. Now, what is the meaning when I ask you to find the exact value? Finding exact value means that you don't use your calculator. Oh, the exact value for this sine 7 pi over 6. So you do trigonometry sine of, so you do 7 pi over 6. I'm gonna change the degree to radian. 7 times pi over 6 minus pi over 3, and then you take the now take the sine of this fellow. This is so do not use your calculator to do this and then take the sine of this. You will get a bunch of decimals. That is wrong. So what is the meaning when I ask for exact value? So this is also very important. Exact value in this case means that your answer is in square roots. Okay, so you cannot use calculator to just figure out what this is. Okay, so I will show you how to figure this one out by applying to this law of, by applying this sum and difference here. So so the first one we have in this case is sine 7 pi over 6 minus pi over 3. So again, do not do this in the test. I distribute this. I will get sine 7 pi over 6 minus sine pi over 3. So if you do this in the test, you will get a big fat 0. No, don't do that. Okay. So what you need to do for this case is you have to apply this formula, the sine formula. So this will be your u, this will be your v. Okay. So for us to do sine 7 pi over 6 minus pi over 3 is sine u times cosine v is a minus, so we will take the minus cosine u times sine v. So now you have to replace your u and v here. So sine u in this case will be 7 pi over 6. And cosine v in this, now this is also one thing that you guys need to watch out here. The v in this case is not negative pi over 3. Let me repeat. Your v in this case is not negative pi over 3. Your v in this case is just pi over 3. Okay. This is also one students, a few students will think that, oh, v in this case is negative. No, the v is always positive. Both u and v are positive. Okay. So notes here for yourself too. Both u and v are positive. Okay, so please, if you see a minus sign here, do not put in the negative. Both u and v here is positive. Now we will use your unit circle, and yes, in this coming finals, the unit circle is not provided to you. So you have to tell me what is sine 7 pi over 6 is. Anyone know, using your unit circle, what is sine 7 pi over 6?
Negative 1/2.
Sine 30 degrees. Yep, negative 1/2. And cosine pi over 3. Cosine 60 degrees, pi over 3.
Square root of 3 over 2.
60.
1/2.
I think it's 1/2, right? Cosine
Yeah,
60
it's
is
1/2.
Yeah. Make sure you look at the x value. Minus cosine 7 pi over 6.
Negative square root of 3 over 2.
And the last one, sine pi over 3.
Square root of 3 over 2.
I'm sorry, positive. Okay, so yes, we are still going to use a unit circle here. And then what you do here now is just they're all numbers, so we can multiply this. So multiply the fraction straight across, you get negative 1/4. Minus, this is from here. Multiply this, you get another negative. Root 3 times root 3 is 3 over 4. Okay, root 3 times root 3 is 3 over 4. So we're going to change this to plus. So this is actually is negative 1/4 plus 3/4. So this is actually 1/2. So that's your answer in this case. Difficult? Questions? Right. So I want you guys to do question 3 now. You have to find the exact value of sine, cosine, tangent for this case. So 17 pi over 12, given as 17 pi over 12 is 9 pi over 4 minus 5 pi over 6. So do sine 17 pi over 12, which in this case is sine 9 pi over 4 minus 5 pi over 6. So you use exactly the same formula we just did on number 1. I want you guys to go ahead and try it. And don't forget, this is your U, this is your V. And your UV in this case are both positive. You guys have my notes, right? Please write on the notes. What you guys got for this case? Where is sine 9 pi over 4 minus 5 pi over 6? Using the formula. Nukin, Andrew, Henry, Kevin.
So for the 4 numbers, I got root 2 over 2.
So this is sine 9 pi over 4, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So sine 9 over,
which is the same thing as what?
Root 2 over 2.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
Why is positive?
Because it would did a full rotation and then it ended back on pi over 4.
You're very good. That's correct. Okay, continue.
And then it would be cosine 5 pi over 6 minus cosine 9 pi over 4 times sine 5 pi over 4. And then that'll reduce and that'll become the fractions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what is, so you got this one. So what is cosine 5 pi over 6 is?
Negative 3 squared over 2, right?
Root 3 over 2?
Sorry, root 3.
You're fine.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Minus root 2 over 2 times 1/2.
Yep. So cosine 9 pi over 4 is root 2 over 2 and sine 5 pi over 6 is 1/2. Now what you do is multiply these fractions up. So what you get is, now when you multiply the square root here, you get a negative square root of 6 over 4. And this, when you multiply, you get a negative 2 over 4. So because they are same, they're all over 4, the same common denominator. So you can just put them into 1 over 4. So your answer in this case will be negative root 6 minus root 2 all divided by 4. You guys all right here? Yes, this will be asked in your final. Now, this question also wants us to find the cosine 17 pi over 12, the exact value, which is cosine 9 pi over 4 minus 5 pi over 6. When you look at the cosine formula is cos u, cos v. If it's a minus, you have to add sine u, sine v. So in this case, when you have a cosine u minus cosine v, this is cos u, which is cos 9 pi over 4, and cosine v, 5 pi over 6. Again, class, make sure that both of these are positive. And then if it's a cosine, if it's a minus, you switch the sign to become plus. Only cosine and tangent, you don't do a tangent, you will switch your sign. And then you just change this cos to become sine. So it's sine 9 pi over 4 and cosine sine 5 pi over 6. And then you will again find the exact value. We already did this, so the exact value is being used here. So cosine 9 pi over 4 is actually root 2 over 2. Cosine 5 pi over 6, which is negative root 3 over 2. Sine 9 pi over 4, which is root 2 over 2. And sine 5 pi over 6, which is 1/2. Okay, so majority, if you did the sine and if you do the cosine, the exact value for all this is they just reorganize it. Okay, so this we will get a negative root 6 over 4 because our denominator is 4. And this we will get a plus root 2 over 4. So your cosine of 17 pi over 12 is actually negative root 6 plus root 2 over 4. Anyone have any questions on this? And the last one we're going to talk about is tangent. In the test, I cannot give you I cannot give you all 3 sine and cosine and tangent. So in the test, I will only give you one of this because there's no, again, because of time constraint, you cannot do all 3 of this. So make sure you guys know how to apply the formulas. Again, when I grade your test, I am grading based on how you understand the concept instead of just if like doing distribute like this means you do not know the concept, means you get 0. So make sure you guys follow the formulas. So for the tangent, u minus v, again, this is your u and this is your v, okay, and they're all both positive. Okay, So we will have a really difficult formula. Is tan u, so tangent 9 pi over 4, this is u, minus, because if you have a minus, we are doing the bottom one, tangent v, so it's tangent 5 pi over 6, 1 plus, because the bottom one is plus, multiply of these two, tangent 9 pi over 4, and tangent 5 pi over 6. So you're doing, so this is how we perform using the tangent u minus v. U is 9 pi over 4, v is 5 pi over 6. So now what we do is, again, we're gonna take the unit circles to apply this. So when you look at unit circle, you look at the y over x value, okay, because tangent is the y over x value. So can someone tell me what is tangent 9 pi over 4 is?
1.
1 minus tangent 5 pi over 6.
Negative square root of 3 over 3.
So because they got another minus, so this, then you got a negative. So both minus and negative equals a positive. And you say what, Andrew, square root of what?
Negative square root of 3 over 3. So plus square root of 3 over 3.
Yep, because of the minus. So you got 2 minus become positive. 1 plus tangent 9 pi over 4 is 1. And tangent 5 pi over 6 is negative root 3 over 3. I'm just double checking with my units, my just to see if it's correct with tangent. There you go. Just checking it. So where was that friend of yours? 9 pi over 4 is 1. Yes, 5 pi over 6. 5 pi over 6 is square negative root 3. Yep, that's correct. Okay. So what we do here is we will now this 1 times is redundant, so we're going to reduce this. So so this is going to be 1 plus root 3 over 3 over by 1 minus root 3 over 3, because 1 times negative is negative. So this will give us 1 minus root 3. Now they all have a 3 in the denominator. So what do I do is I will multiply everything by 3 here. So you can do this as long as you're multiplying the same number, because 3 over 3 is 1, and anything multiplied by 1, you get back the same thing. So as long as you multiply the same number, 3 and 3, and the reason why we pick 3 is because your denominator is 3. So 1 times 3 is 3, plus root 3 over 3 times 3 become just root 3, because the 3 and 3 will cancel. Same thing over here, 1 times 3 is 3, minus the 3 and 3 will cancel, you get the 3 here. So in order for us to do the tangent 17 pi over 12, your answer in this case is 3 plus root 3 over 3 minus root 3. You do not need to rationalize this, because in the test, I'm testing you how you apply the formula and then use the unit circle to figure out the value for this tangent of sine, cosine. So I'm not testing you how to rationalize or do all these things. So so I think if you even leave this in your online homework, they mark you, they still give you correct. So I'm not very picky, same thing with me. Again, in the test, I'm testing you how you apply the formula and how you use a unit circle to find these values. So you can either leave your answer in this the Ike fraction one, or you can multiply that by 3, you get the other part. I'm not picky. Just want to point out to you, I think your online homework is pretty okay with that too. Okay. Anyone have any questions here? Now, your formulas that you see here is not just going through one left to right. So sometimes a formula can go right to left. Okay, so just want to point out to you that it's not always going one way. Both equal sign means it can go both way. So if you see like something like a parenthesis involved, then we go from left to right. But if you look at this, cosine pi over 7 times cosine pi over 5 minus sine pi over 7 times sine pi over 5. So this is where it goes the other direction. Okay. So you have to read the formula from right to left. So is this a sine, cosine, or tangent?
Cosine?
Cosine. So this is actually is cosine u plus v or u minus v?
U plus v.
Plus, because cosine, the sign change. So if c minus become plus. And what is u and what is v in this case?
U is pi over 7, and v is pi over 5.
So you just add this up. So anyone know what is pi over 7 plus pi over 5? And that will be your answer. Make sure you add. So. Anyone? Yeah.
Is it like 12 pi over 35? Or-
Yep. 12. Yep. So it's
But
12
you gotta
pi.
reduce it, or
Nope. Nope. 12 pi over 35. Can we reduce 12 and 35?
no?
So this is your answer. Okay. And you can tell that the question here did not call you to find the exact value, right? Since if a question did not ask us to find the exact value, means that this is your answer. But if a question wants you to find the exact value, then you have to use the unit circle to find it. Okay, so don't forget, exact value means you have to use your unit circle. If you don't see the word exact value, like question 4, 5, and 6, you do not need to use the, actually 6, you do need to use a bit of circles. All right, so this is how we do question number 4, very straightforward type. Okay, how about question number 5? They give us tangent 140 minus tangent 60, 1 plus tangent 140, tangent 60. So which formula are we using in this case? So we are using tangent formula. Is that u plus v or is that u minus v?
Minus.
Okay. Again, because the sign on the top is minus. So usually for tangent, you look at the top sign. If a sign is minus, we use minus. If a sign is plus, it's plus. And what is u and what is v in this case?
140 is u, 140 degrees, and then 60 degrees is v.
So minus these two up. What is 140 minus 60?
80.
Yep. And that's your answer. Okay. So yes, usually if you go from right to left, your work is super short. You see that, right? Trying to do a lot of work. But if you go from left to right, your work is a bit more. Okay. So on question number 6, can you tell me, is this, are we going from left to right or right to left using this sign formula?
Left to right.
So we're going to left to right. So because we have a parenthesis here, so that means this is a longer way. So what is sine 3 pi over 2 plus theta? Sine 3 pi over 2 times with what? Cosine theta. Is that plus or minus here? So it's the first one, right? I'm sorry, Kevin. Which one is it, Kevin? So for sine, we use back the same sign. So this will become what? Plus cosine 3 pi over 2 and sine theta. Okay. So it's sine u cosine v plus cos u sine v. And then we can use your unit circle. What is sine 3 pi over 2 is? Three pi over 2 is right here. What is sine?
-1.
And cosine?
0.
0. So this will give us -1, and this will give us what? 0. And 0 times anything will give you 0. So this will be redundant. So this answer will become just what?
-1 times theta or cosine theta?
So it's just negative cosine
cosine
theta. So sine 3 pi over 2 plus theta is actually negative cosine theta. You guys all right here? Difficult? This 3 is a main formula. How about question 2? Because we didn't do question 2 yet, right? We just skip. Question 2 is asking us cosine 120 degrees plus cosine 45 degrees. And you have to find the exact value. So don't forget, they have to ask for exact value. So can we use this formula to find question 2? This is cos, sine, sine. Can we use this formula?
No.
No. Okay. So you need to know the difference. If you look the difference here, this one has parentheses. They all the angles are together. This is no parentheses, so you are not going to apply 7/4. This one you just apply direct from your unit circle. What is cosine 120 degrees using your unit circle? Cosine 120 is -1/2. And what is cosine 45 degrees? It will be √2 over 2. So this is -1 plus √2 over 2. So if you have such questions like this, you are not using the formulas here. The one with the parentheses, the one that you use it for. Questions you guys have? Question 7 and 8 is very similar to what we did. So I don't want to write this question down. So can someone tell me, the only difference here is this one needs to find the exact value. So exact value means you have to use your unit circle. So every time you see exact value means please use the unit circle. So can someone tell me this is sine or cosine or tangent on number 7?
Sine.
Okay, so this is sine, cos, cosine is sine. Now we're gonna do backwards. So it's u plus v because sine we use the same sign. So what is u in this case?
Pi over 12.
And v?
Pi over 4.
So you have to add them up. So please add pi over 12 and pi over 4. And reduce the fraction. Anyone?
1 pi over 3.
So it's it should be 4 pi over 12, right? And this will be pi over 3. Yep, you're right. Yep, this is pi over 3. Reduce it, become pi over 3. Now you use the as find it as use a unit circle to find the exact. What is sine pi over 3?
Root 3 over 2.
Yeah, that will be your answer. I want you guys to try to do number 8 on your own. Cosine 120, cosine 30 degrees plus sine 120, sine 30 degrees. Anyone know what this is?
0.
0. This is the same thing as cosine of what?
Cosine 90.
90. Which is 120, take away 30. What is cosine 90 degrees?
0.
Questions, anyone? Next, we're going to talk about is this. Now, this is a little bit different from the one that you did before. Question 9 is telling us that U and V is in quadrant 3, and find, again, the question is asking for exact value. So again, exact value in this case means use your unit circles. Given us that sine U is this and cosine V is that. So you got, before you even do A, B, and C, you have to draw me the picture. So we got 2 angles. Quadrant 3 triangles look something like this. This is U. And quadrant 3 also in for V. So this is V. Okay. And don't forget, quadrant 1 triangle looks, there's a ribbon here. So this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and this is quadrant 4. So that's why the quadrant 3 looks something like that. Then you use a SOHCAHTOA. Sine U is negative 725. So negative 7 goes to where for sine? Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Sine is what over what?
Opposite over hypotenuse.
So opposite here is negative 7. And your hypotenuse is 25. So you need to figure out what is your adjacent. Now, if you know your triplets, you can use your triplets to figure this one out. But if you do not know your triplets, you have to use your Pythagorean theorem. Do not, I'm sorry. So sorry, Kevin, you say something? 20. I do not. I didn't hear what you say. So what you got? What you got?
24.
Yep, this will be 24. Okay, you can use Pythagorean, right? However, so this is, please class pay attention here. This is also in your finals. If you give me 24, this is wrong.
Negative 24.
Yes.
So it's in quadrant 3.
Right, Henry, that's correct. So be careful with the sign, because if you are in quadrant 3, both your X and Y values are negative. Okay, just want to point out to you. What happens in quadrant 2? Only X is negative, but the Y is what? Positive, right?
Positive.
Just like coordinates. If you remember the coordinates, So I just want to tell you that, okay? Now we use V. Can someone tell me cosine is what over what?
Adjacent over hypotenuse.
So the adjacent will be -4 and your hypotenuse is 5. And class, hypotenuse is always positive. Okay, put a note for yourself here. Your hypotenuse is always positive. So if you give me a negative hypotenuse, it's wrong because it's like a radius of a circle. Okay, radius is always measured positive. Can someone tell me what is the triplets here?
3.
Again, 3 will be wrong.
Negative.
Negative. So be careful with this. This is something that a lot of students, and it has a domino effect. If your picture is wrong, your ABC here is automatically wrong. I can tell you that, okay? Because you use the wrong picture here, okay? So can someone tell me, looking at this U here, what is sine U? Well, sine U is already given to us, -7/25, right? Right here, it's -7/25. Can you tell me what is cosine U and tangent U? Use your SOHCAHTOA. Same thing here. What is sine V, cosine V, and tangent V? This is super important.
-24/25.
-24/25 for the cosine U, tangent U.
Seven over 24.
7/24. Both negative become positive. That's correct. Now you do the same thing for the V. Sine V is
3/4.
Now cosine V is already given to us, which is -4/5. So you just need to do tangent V. What's tangent V here?
-3/4.
Which will be 3/4. So don't forget, double negative become positive. So once you get into here, then you can do ABC here. So cosine U plus V, what's the formula for cosine U plus V? Formula is cosine U times cosine V minus, because cosine change a sign, sine U, sine V. Now using this, you just substitute back, plug it in. Can you tell me what is cosine U from the triangles here? -7/25. Cosine V is -4/5 minus sine U, which is this one, oops, sorry, cosine U is not -7. Cosine U should be what? -24. Okay. Watch out those who have sloppy handwriting. Watch out for your U and your V. Okay. If you don't like UV, you can use AB, okay, or MN or something else. XY. Sine U is -7/25, and sine V in this case is -3/5. And then you just take out your calculator and perform this. Okay. Then you guys know what to do, right? So this is 96/125. 2 negative become positive, minus again 2 negative become positive. You get 21/125. Subtract this, you get 75/125, and then reduce this is 3/5. Make sure you guys know how to use your calculator to do all these icky fractions. You guys okay here? B is asking us to do tangent U minus V. So can someone tell me what is the formula for tangent U minus V? Formulas? Hello, class. Tangent U minus V, class. We did this.
Tangent U
Tangent
minus
7 over 24 plus
So it's
tan
tangent U minus tangent V, 1 plus tangent U tangent V. Now, the common mistake that students do is they don't use this formula. They will replace this. Oh, tangent U, what's tangent U? Tangent U is 7/24. So they put 7 over 24 here. And then, oh, what is tangent V? Oh, tangent V is 3 over 4. So they put 3 over 4 here. Is this right or is this wrong? Is this right? Wrong. This is wrong. Okay, so don't do this because what is tangent 7 over 24? If it's in radian, tangent 7 over 24 is icky numbers. That 0.3. So that is not the correct way to do this. So please don't do this in my test. Tangent 7 over 24 minus tangent 3 over 4. This is just U and V here. So not tangent U and tangent minus tangent V. Okay. Now you replace it. Tangent U in this case is what? 7 over 24. So no tangent in front. Minus tangent V is 3 over 4. 1 plus tangent U, 7 over 24, times tangent V, 3 over 4. Take out your calculator. You guys know how to do fractions, your calculator, right? Subtract these two first. Take out your calculator and subtract. This is basic calculator work. What do you get when you subtract these two?
negative 11 over 24.
Make sure you use your calculator and then subtract 1 plus multiply of those two. Yes, you can use your calculator, use your ABC symbols because your calculator has fraction symbols here. Yep. You will get a number here. I'm not using. Anyone? 1 plus 7, 24 times 3 over 4.
9 over 32.
32.
39 over 32.
39 over 32. Class, I already told you, right? You can use your graphing calculators. You can use your scientific calculator for these finals. So make sure you guys know how to do this kind of fraction. Yep, that's 39 over 32. Now you divide these two up. This is all calculator works. And if you doesn't know how to do this, you better come and talk to me. And make sure you have a calculator next to you when you do this. So what is the division of these two? Negative 44 over by 117. Make sure you guys know this. These are all basic stuff. You should, it's not even cover my class. Again, I am testing about how you apply the formulas here. The fraction piece, if you miscalculate it, I wouldn't even take a lot of points off. Okay, but applying the formula is more important. Okay. And the last question we're gonna do here on 9C in this case is finding cosecant of u minus v. So in order for you to find the cosecant, we cannot use the formula for this because cosecant is not, cosecant is sine. So I just use all this formula. You can, but then you have to make 1 over it. So this is actually is 1 over the sine. So this is would be sine u times cos v. Because it's sine, cosecant is a reciprocal of sine, so we use back the same sign. So minus cos u sine v. So this 1 over is just reciprocal, so we just ignore it here. So let's ignore the 1 over and just do this one, and then after that you flip it. That's the meaning of it for the 1 over. So sine u, what is sine u in this case? Sine u. Negative 7 over 25. Cosine v is negative 4 over 5 minus cosine u. Cosine u is negative 24 over 25. And sine v is negative 3 over 5. Yep, take out your calculator and start finding what is these numbers. What do you got?
I got 28 over 125 for that.
28 over 125, and then this one is what? 72 over 125, right? This is 28 over 125. This is 72 over 125. Subtract this, you get what? Negative 44 over 125. And you put 1 over it. And what's the meaning when I say 1 over it? You flip it. So what's your answer in this case? Negative 125 over 44. Okay. So again, if you want to find cosecant, cotangent, or secant, you find the sine, tangent, cosine first, and then after that you flip the fractions you have. And that's how you find the other 3. Questions? Anyone, any questions for me? I'm gonna take attendance, so please put present in your chat room. Again, class, make sure you use your calculator. This is very basic fractions here. You guys should be able to do this. Okay. Now, on top of doing the stuff that we just did, this section also has proof identities, and it also have solving equations. So yes. So this kind of questions will have, proving identities. Again, the proving identities that you have in this case is mostly based on addition and subtraction form. So that means that if you look at question number 11, sine pi over 2 plus x is equals to cosine x. In this case, we will start from the left-hand side because this is the addition and subtraction. Okay. So we will definitely start from the left-hand side. So can someone apply the addition subtraction here for sine pi over 2 plus x? This is your u, this is your v. What do you get? Class?
Sine pi over 2 times cosine x plus cosine pi over 2 times sine x.
Yep. Now you use your unit circles. Can you tell me what is sine pi over 2 is?
-1. No, that's
No.
1.
1, right? And cosine pi over 2?
0.
0. Okay. And again, 0 multiplied by anything will give you what?
0.
0. So that one you can drop. So what you left in this case is just what? Cosine x. Which is the same as this side. So it's pretty much simple here. So you do because every time when you do this kind of work, we are looking for the one on the left side. Okay. So try number 12, cosine of 5 pi over 4 minus x is equals to -√2 over 2 times cosine x plus sine x. Yep, try this, number 12. Again, this is your u, this is your v. So Ethan, what is the formula for this? What is cosine 5 pi over 4 minus x in this case?
Cosine 5 pi over 4 minus cosine x.
Who is this?
Sorry.
Kelvin? What? Ethan? And like that, he just disappeared. Yes, Kelly, what'd you get?
Cosine 5 pi over 4 minus cosine x plus sine 5 pi over 4 minus sine x.
Okay. And use your unit circle and figure out what is cosine 5 pi over 4 is.
Negative root 2 over 2 minus cosine x plus negative root 2 over 2 minus sine x.
So because this is a negative, right?
Yes.
So this will become negative root 2 over 2 sine x. And we need to get into this form. So what do we do with this? Anyone? You have to factor the negative root 2 over 2 in here because they are in common. So what happens when you factor negative root 2 over 2? You get what?
Cosine x minus sine x or
Not cosine x minus, it's cosine x
plus?
plus sine x. Because the negative you factor
Oh
out.
yeah, you factor it out. Okay.
Yep, so we have factored both of them are negative, so that's why I take the negative out. Because the question has a, do the question a negative in front? Yeah, we just have a negative. This is the same as this. So yes, we do have provings of identities here. So make sure you guys know how to prove your identities. And we also have solving equations. Like question 13, you have to solve the equations for this in the interval for 0 to 2 pi. So we have a cosine of x plus pi over 4 minus cosine of x minus pi over 4. And this is all equals to 1. Okay. So you're going to apply the addition subtraction here twice. One for the cosine and one for this the other cosine. Okay. Let's do the first one. So what is cosine x plus pi over 4? This will be cosine x times with cosine pi over 4 plus will become minus sine x times sine pi over 4. So we have cos, because it's a plus, so become minus sine. Can someone tell me what is, we can leave it here for a minute, so we'll do the other side, then we'll change it. What is cosine x minus pi over 4? Is exactly the same as the red one here, but the sign is what?
Positive.
Positive. Yep, so it's cosine x cosine pi over 4 plus sine x sine pi over 4, no root here. And don't forget, we have this icky minus. This is the one that show a lot of students, and this is still equals to 1. We'll put equals to 1 here. Okay. This minus sign is the one that throws a lot of people off, especially in your homework or your test, because this minus has to be what? It has to distribute. Now, when you distribute this is only having 2 terms. This is considered 1 term, and this is also considered 1 term. So a lot of students, when they distribute, they thought they would distribute to 4 terms because they thought there are 4 terms here. Cosine x, cosine pi over 4, sine x. and sine pi over 4? No, you only distribute this twice. So when you distribute the negative, this used to be a positive, will become negative. But what happens to this? Initially, it is positive, become what? This will become negative. Okay, so because the negative will affect both of this, so make sure you distribute it twice, and that's why the sign changes. So can we simplify? If you look at all this, can we simplify that? The cosine x and cosine pi over 4, this is positive, this is negative. That will cancel each other out. Okay, and these two are like terms. So sine x, sine pi over 4 are like terms, so they are negative. So you will get -2 here. Sine x and then sine pi over 4. And this is all equals to 1. Does anyone know what is sine pi over 4 is? Using your unit circle?
Root 2 over 2.
Root 2 over 2. So this 2 and this 2 will cancel. So what do I left in this case is -√2 times sine x equals to 1. So now we solve for x like what we did in the previous section. I divide this by -√2. And then I move the sign to become the arcsine of it. Can someone tell me what is the rationalize the denominator for him?
Root 2 over 2.
And don't forget the negative because we still have the negative in front here. So what are the angles in radian for -√2 over 2 for arcsine? Look at your unit circle and you can tell. Forget
5 pi
sine.
over 4 and 7 pi over 4.
I'm sorry, I heard 7 pi over 4 and what else?
5 pi over 4.
Yep, so this is your answer in this case. Questions? So solving equation here is a little bit difficult. The reason why is because you have to apply, in this case, 2 of this. And then after you apply both of these, you have to use, you have to kind of like use the unit circle to do the arcsine, arc cosine, arctan. And I can tell you that when you do this, this thing can be simplified. Simplify means combine like terms. So some of them is cancelable. Some of them you can combine into like, so your term is a bit smaller in this case. All right, let's do next question, number 14. This is a bit longer. Tangent x plus pi plus 2 sine x plus pi equals to 0. Again, we are solving here. We are not proving. Okay, we are solving the equation from 0 to pi. So this time we got tangent. So what is the formula for this? And what is the formula for that? Anyone know the formula for tangent? U plus V.
Tan u plus v or 1 plus tan u.
So this is tangent x plus tangent pi 1 minus tan x times tan pi. Yep, this is the formula for that. This is plus 2. And what is the formula for this sine x plus pi is? Sine x cos pi plus cos x sine pi. Yeah. So you've been using the addition and subtraction formula for tangent and cos and sine in this case. Sine, cos, cosine. Now, what is tangent pi? Anyone? Tangent pi? Unit circle?
0.
It's 0. Yes. So if this is 0, this is 0, what do you get?
Undefined.
No.
Just 0.
So tangent pi is 0, right?
1. Would it
What
be
is on
negative?
top? If this is 0. So you just get
Just be tangent x.
tangent x over by what? 1 minus
0.
0. Right? Anything multiplied by 0 is 0, right? And what is 1 minus 0?
-1.
No, 1 minus
Just 1.
1. And anything over 1. So this is
the same. So it's just tangent x.
yes, this whole thing is the same as tangent x. Now my question is, what is cosine pi?
-1.
Cosine pi is -1 and sine pi is
0.
0. So again, because this is multiplied by 0, so this term is totally cancel out because it's redundant. So now we got what? Tangent x. So this is actually is -2 sine x equals to 0. Okay. So we got 2 times -1. So it's -2 sine x equals to 0. So we cannot use Pythagorean identity here because there's no squaring, but we can change tangent in terms of sine and cosine. So tangent is sine x over cosine x. And -2 sine x here. So in this case, we can factor out your sine x because sine x is in common here. So we can factor out your sine x. When you factor sine x out, you get 1 minus cosine x here. -2. So in this case, we got 2 answers. One answer in this case will be sine x is equals to 0. And one is 1 over cosine x minus 1 over cosine x equals 2. Because you make them all equals to 0. So now you do the arcsine. Can someone tell me what is the arcsine of 0? Arcsine of 0?
0 and pi.
0 and pi, yep. And we cannot use 2 pi because our is not include 2 pi. So this is 1. How do we solve this? We just change place here. So we move the cosine x and 2. So in this case, cosine x is 1/2. Okay, or you flip it. So if you flip this side, then make sure you also flip him. So if you flip 1 over cosine, become cosine, 2 become 1/2. And you move the cosine over here to become the arc cosine of 1/2. So can someone tell me what is this?
Over 3 and 5 pi over 3.
So it's 60 degrees, pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. So this is your answer in this case. So you got 2 of them. Yes, this is tough. I didn't say this is easy. Okay, so solving equations here. The main part is this whole icky stuff can be reduced to become him. Okay, so tangent x plus pi plus 2 sine x plus pi is actually just 10x minus 2 sine x. That is the the trick behind it. But once you get into that, then the solving piece will be just back to our normal solving piece. Again, make sure you know that you cannot use Pythagorean identity here because there's no square here. Questions, anyone? And we'll do the last question. Is this for calculus question? So you need to prove that cosine x plus h minus cosine x divided by h is equals to cosine x times cosine h minus 1. That is not a typo. It's cosine h minus 1 over h minus sine x times sine h over h. This is for those you are going to calculus. You need to know this. This is called a differentiation. H in this case cannot be 0. Okay. So we are proving this. So we're gonna prove this from this side, the left-hand side. Okay. Because we can apply the addition formula for cosine. Anyone know what is that formula is? What's the formula for cosine x, cosine u plus v is? This will give you what? Cosine x,
Cosine v minus, or yeah, cosine h minus
yep.
sine x, sine h.
Yep. And don't forget, we still have the negative cosine x here and all over by h. We just only we just use a formula for the cosine x plus h. Now, if you look at this right-hand side, you notice that this is in terms of cosine and this is in terms of sine. So what they do is they kind of like split this into two groups. Cosine go in one group, sine. So what they do in this case, same thing. We put all the cosine in one group. So we got cosine x, cosine h minus cosine x over h. I just put them in all this in one group. Minus, I put the sine in one group. So sine x, sine h over h. Okay. So I just split this up in two groups, and you find out this fellow has cosine in common. So I will factor the cosine x out. So what you left in this case is cosine h minus 1 all over by h. So I'm taking the cosine x. This one, I just pull out the sine x out from here. And I will get sine h over h. And this is how you get to your right-hand side. Okay. So this is called differentiation. So when you go to calculus 1, the differentiate of cosine x is cosine x minus sine x. So if you want to find what is the differentiation of cosine x, which is cosine x prime, use that little symbol to call differentiation, then it's cosine x minus sine x. You just set, this will be, in calculus, you will learn this will become 1. Yeah, no. I think it's just cosine x. Oh my God. Oh, this go to 0. Oh, I forgot about that. Ooh, this is what happens. I think it's cos x minus sine x. Let me see. This is what happens. So this is called differentiation. So differentiate cosine. Minus sine x, sorry. So yeah, I think one of these will go to, so I think this will go to 0. and then this will go to 1. Sorry, so this will give us the minus this one. So you will learn this in your calculus 1 that this will tends to go to 0 when h approaching 0, and then this will go to 1 when h approaching 1. So that's why you get it there. So this is called a differentiation. So that's the reason why I need to show this to you, so that when you guys do calculus 1, you see what's going on with this kind of problem. Yep. Questions you guys have? So there is no homework this Wednesday. So I would recommend you guys. Let me see. I don't think so. You got homework this Wednesday. Let me double check. I don't think so. You got homework this Wednesday. But I would recommend you guys to start working on this 7.4 homework here, because that will be your. I don't know when is that due. Let me check. 7.4 homework is due by the 1st. Okay, so it's due by the 1st, which is no, not this week. So this homework is due on Wednesday, the 1st. Yep. So you got only one homework due on the 1st. So please do your homework here. You got 10 days to do this question here, this section here. So make sure you guys do this. Okay. This is due on Wednesday, the 1st. Anyone have any questions for me here? Make sure you start working on your homework. If you have no questions, you may leave. If you have any questions, please stay here.